It is my pleasure and my honor at this time to introduce Keith Greer, the president of our congregation, to share some words on behalf of the board. And we are so delighted and so thrilled that he is with us at this time.
On the bima stood two large, dark brown wooden podiums. The rabbi spoke from one, the cantor sang from the other. The podiums, dark on an otherwise airy bima, stood in stark contrast to the colorful stained glass windows that filled the back wall. Over the years, the rabbi had received suggestions on possible changes in the bima furniture. Not a groundswell of opinion, just an occasional thought from a well-meaning congregant on changes that could bring the beautiful stained glass windows to the fore. One day, the rabbi, longly tenured and beloved by the congregation, stood at the back of the sanctuary, eyes cast on the bima, the presence of the podium more pronounced than ever. Taking notice, the rabbi made a very simple decision. The two podiums would be removed. By the start of the next Shabbat services, in their place now stood microphones with stands and a small Torah reading table. The rabbi could not have been happier with this decision. The bima was brighter and felt more open. The early evening light entering through the stained glass windows cast a tone of serenity and connection. The rabbi and cantor both commented on how these simple changes left them feeling more connected with the congregation. Congregant reactions began to filter in. At first, mostly positive, but over the next week, the general tenor became more negative. In fact, some hated the changes. Eventually, the bedraggled-looking president of the congregation, who had been fielding a myriad of phone calls and emails regarding the changes, knocked on the rabbi's office door, poked his head in, and respectfully said, "Rabbi, could you have given me a heads up?" According to William Bridges in his book, Managing Transitions, Making the Most of Change, change is the situational event in which something old stops and something new begins. Bridges explains that transition is the psychological process people go through from the moment they learn change will or has happened until they become comfortable with the new reality. This is the process that everyone negotiates at their own unique pace, experience their own range of emotion and thought. We at Temple Sinai are in the midst of a period of significant transition. A year ago, our longtime and beloved cantorial soloist Elise Wojciechowski retired, and we welcomed Cantor Braun to our congregation. This past spring, Mary Mansfield, our new executive director, came on board. And as we all know, this coming spring, we will celebrate and honor Rabbi Katz on the occasion of his retirement, while at the same time welcoming the ascension of Rabbi Till to the position of senior rabbi. And while transition in general is difficult, the evidence suggests that for a temple community, rabbinic transition, even in a case like ours where we have had the pleasure and honor of building our relationship with Rabbi Till over the past few years, presents an even greater potential challenge. So what happens to us when confronted with change and transition? In its simplest form, change always begins with an ending and thus is perceived as a loss. Bridges developed a model for managing transitions in which he defined three phases of the process: the ending, the neutral zone, and the new beginning. The ending phase often includes emotions such as sadness, anger, resentment, anxiety, possibly even betrayal and abandonment. Even when the change comes with some anticipation for something new, these positive feelings are often mixed with a lingering sense of sadness and loss. The neutral zone. And since I know some of you have already gone there in your head, this is not to be confused with the place and space-time that keeps the United Federation of Planets safe from the Romulans and Cardassians. Thank you, Trekkies. The neutral zone is a phase often characterized by a shift from the original feelings of loss to those of confusion, disorientation, disconnection, and impatience. Congregants can begin to wrestle with questions such as, has the outgoing rabbi checked out? Will we lose congregants in this process? Who's in charge? A complex mix of emotions may occur among B'nai Mitzvah families who who are looking forward to the soon-to-be former rabbi officiating at their children's service. Other congregants may wonder, will the new rabbi get and understand my family and me? What will these changes mean for our synagogue's future and my place in it? How do we honor the ways of being that have connected us relationally, emotionally, and spiritually with Rabbi Katz and with Elise, with the congregational minhagim or customs that will be particular to the ritual and spiritual leadership of Rabbi Till and Cantor Braun? The challenge before us will require that we, the entire Temple Sinai community, productively work together to support our journey as individuals and as a group in effectively negotiating this moment in our history, a moment that contains both the challenges that are inherent in the transition process, as well as a unique and wonderful opportunity for our community to incorporate pieces of our history with a vision for a new future. How do we walk together toward the feelings of curiosity, receptivity, and excitement that are the hallmark of what Bridges calls the new beginning? I would like to offer a few thoughts on how we can all work productively and respectfully toward the co-creation of our new beginning. One, honor your transition process. You will go through this process differently from others, calling upon your unique strategies for coping with change and transition. This is not a right or wrong endeavor, as it speaks to some of your most complex emotional, relational, and spiritual thoughts and needs. As with every single congregant, you have your own reasons for feeling connected to Temple Sinai, many of those reasons intimately associated with specific people, specific relationships, and/or specific ritual practice. Given the profound importance of your exclusive connection to Temple, do not be surprised if your walk through transition is difficult. Be easy and accepting of yourself and your journey. Two, honor the transition process of others. For our congregation to enter into our new beginning, we must work together in a process of co-creation, melding the best of our institutional wisdom with the new ideas, rituals, and perspectives of a new vision. It is here that we all face a possible challenge. For many of us, the thoughts and feelings inherent in the transition process rocket us right into our fight or flight response, that powerful neurological protection mechanism hardwired into our brain over the millennia. Recent brain science has shown that when in fight or flight, our brain perceives the world as not safe, not trusting, and that we feel excluded. Our response to these feelings of vulnerability is that we lock down into what we believe is right, creating a dynamic that Judith Glaser, the creator of conversational intelligence, has labeled, quote, our addiction to being right, end quote. In this moment, we can find ourselves responding to the difficult demands of transition with statements like, that's not how we do things here at Temple Sinai, or, well, that's just not Temple Sinai culture. Our brain in full protection mode does not allow us to move past I am right and you are wrong thinking. The antidote for this experience is right here. Housed in our prefrontal cortex are a host of unique human capacities that are our strategies for successfully negotiating transition. Our ability to think broadly, to envision the future, to use our wisdom and foresight, to act toward others with compassion, empathy, and integrity, and to trust build are all right here. But there's a neurochemical catch. When in full-blown fight or flight and possibly hunkered down into being right, we do not have access to our prefrontal cortex and the wonderful problem-solving human connection strategies that it contains. Opening up this miraculous part of our brain requires us to quell the fight or flight response through honest communication, a willingness to deeply listen, a belief that we all want what is best for our congregation, that we are all full-hearted when it comes to our community, and that the best future Temple Sinai will evolve from a process of meaningful, respectful, and mutual co-creation. For our transition process to be honored, we must honor the process of others. 3, be patient. This is a lengthy process. Beginning a year ago with the welcoming of Cantor Braun, general thinking is that it will still continue for at least 18 months following Rabbi Katz's departure this spring. 4, treat each other well. A rabbinic transition can be a very stressful time in the life of a congregation. It is of critical importance that congregants treat each other, the clergy, the synagogue staff, our teachers, our custodial staff, everyone, B'Tselem Elohim, as created in God's image. All relationships in this synagogue are holy. We are a sacred community. 5, hold your board of trustees accountable to listen to you. As Amy Asson, Vice President for Strengthening Congregations at the URJ observes, members of congregations are emotionally invested in the congregation and their clergy leaders in ways that the leadership often doesn't know or understand. It is critical to listen to people's concerns, fears, hopes, and dreams for the future. Members of the community need to feel heard and valued. Please do not hesitate to contact myself or any other board member if needed. Transition management must always focus on principles over practice, one of the most important principles being transparent, deliberate, and collaborative communication. And 6, engage in ritual. In her article on the purpose of rituals, Dr. Abigail Brenner states that, by creating and performing personally expressive rituals for ourselves, we move freely into our own spiritual lives, taking charge of marking and honoring the transitions, the special moments in our lives that we find significant in the ways we deem meaningful. Please mark your calendar for Saturday evening, April 18th, as we invite you to what promises to be a highly meaningful and celebratory ritual, our Temple Sinai Gala to honor Rabbi Katz. Now, no one ritual event could fully mark the significant impact of Rabbi Katz's 30-plus year tenure as our rabbi, his personal and spiritual guidance within the walls of our temple, along with his principled, knowledgeable, and courageous leadership within our larger Rochester community, has been profound, groundbreaking, and will be a part of his legacy to future generations. And yet, this gala is shaping up to be something special. One of the centerpieces of this celebration will be the creation of a beautiful tribute book, which will offer all the opportunity to share thoughts, feelings, and memories of your relationship with the rabbi. A very big thank you to Elise Wojciechowski and our incomparable committee of past temple presidents for heading up this planning process. Please keep your eyes and ears open for more information on this and other events that are being planned to honor the rabbi. We will be looking for volunteers to assist with the many details. Dr. Ronald Heifetz, the founding director of the Center for Public Leadership at the JFK School of Government at Harvard University, differentiates between technical and adaptive solutions. Technical solutions can be implemented by current know-how. Adaptive solutions, on the other hand, require shedding of entrenched priorities, beliefs, habits, and loyalties. The adaptive work here is the very difficult task of figuring out what to conserve from the tradition that is precious and essential, what to discard, and what innovations will facilitate taking the very best of our history into the future. I respectfully invite all of you as the congregants of Temple Sinai to participate actively in this journey of transition. Share your thoughts, your hopes, your vision. Please bring your questions and concerns to our rabbinic and lay leaders. Together, we will successfully and creatively get to that place of our new beginning by utilizing what has always made our congregation such a very special community, a sharing of our Jewish faith, history, and values, a place that cares for each other and our greater community, a place that has been a model since its inception of an equal and respectful sharing of rabbinic and lay leadership, and a place that will continue to honor the details of what you want and need to maintain your meaningful connection to your faith and your congregational life here at Temple Sinai. Carol and I wish you all a new year filled with happiness, good health, and peace. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.